What if I told you that right now, while you're watching, this money is leaking out of your bank account and you have absolutely no idea where it's going? Not because someone stole your credit card, but because you're making silent financial mistakes that the Bible warned us about thousands of years ago. These aren't the obvious mistakes everyone talks about. These are the hidden traps that keep good people broke their entire lives. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly which ones you're making and how to stop them immediately. But I need you to stay until the end, because mistake number 4 is going to completely flip everything you thought you knew about saving money. I'm your guide here at Kingdom Finances, and if this is your first time on this channel, everything we do here is built on one simple mission: teaching you how to handle money the way the Bible actually tells us to, not how broke culture tells us to. And today we're exposing 7 money mistakes that most Christians make without even realizing they're doing it. Here's what makes these mistakes so devastating. They're silent. You don't hear them draining your account. You don't see the damage they're causing day by day, month by month. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll look back and wonder why you're still struggling while other people built wealth. And the answer will be in these 7 mistakes. Now, before we dive in, I need you to make a promise to yourself right now. As we go through each mistake, be brutally honest about whether you're doing it. Don't make excuses. Don't say you'll think about it later, just acknowledge the truth. Because awareness is the first step to change, and change is the only thing standing between you and financial freedom. All right, let's start with mistake number 1, and I'm warning you. This one is going to sting because almost everyone does this. Mistake number 1 is spending money without planning where it goes first. Now I know what you're thinking. You do plan, you pay your bills, you buy groceries, you're responsible. But that's not what I'm talking about. Real planning happens before you spend a single dollar, not after the money's already gone. Look at what Proverbs chapter 21 verse 5 says. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. That word haste means rushing into things without thinking them through, acting on impulse, making emotional purchases. And Scripture doesn't say haste might lead to poverty or sometimes leads to poverty. It says haste leads to poverty guaranteed. So let me ask you something. When you got your last paycheck, did you sit down before spending anything and write out exactly where every single dollar was going to go? Did you assign each dollar a specific job before it left your account? Or did you just start spending and hope there'd be enough left over at the end of the month? If you're like most people, you did the second one. You paid some bills, bought some stuff, grabbed food when you were hungry, and then suddenly it's 3 days before the next payday, and you're stressing about whether you have enough to make it. That's not planning, that's hoping. And hoping is not a financial strategy. Here's what planning actually looks like. Before the month starts, you sit down with your income and you tell every dollar where to go. 20% goes straight to savings before you touch anything else. 10% goes to giving because that's honoring God first. Then you list out your actual needs: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, gas, insurance. Whatever's left after needs are covered. That's what you have for everything else. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You suddenly have money at the end of the month instead of stress. Not because you made more money, but because you told your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. The action step for this mistake is simple, but it requires discipline. Before you spend another dollar this month, create a written plan. Get a piece of paper, open a spreadsheet, use a budgeting app. I don't care which tool you use, just make the plan. Write your income at the top, list every expense, and make sure those 2 numbers balance to 0. Every dollar gets a name, every dollar gets assigned a job. Do this one time and watch how fast your financial stress drops. Because plans lead to profit, but spending without planning leads straight to poverty, and you get to choose which path you're walking. Mistake number 2 is living beyond your means. And this mistake is absolutely destroying Christian families right now. Proverbs 21 verse 17 says, "Whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and olive oil will never be rich." Now, obviously, wine and olive oil were luxury items back then. So in our modern context, this is talking about constantly upgrading your lifestyle, always wanting the newest thing, needing to look successful even if you're broke behind the scenes. And our culture is pushing this mistake on you every single day. You deserve the best car. You need the bigger house. Your kids should have everything they want. You work hard, so treat yourself. That message is everywhere. And it's a trap that leads straight to poverty. Social media makes it even worse. You scroll and see everyone else living their best life. New cars, exotic vacations, designer clothes, fancy restaurants. And you start feeling like you're falling behind, like you need to upgrade everything to keep up with what everyone else has. But here's what nobody tells you. Most of those people are drowning in debt. That car is financed at 20% interest. That vacation was put on credit cards. Those clothes were bought with money they didn't have. And behind all those perfect posts are people who can't sleep at night because they're terrified of losing everything. The truly wealthy people, the ones who actually have money in the bank, they don't live like that. They drive paid-off cars that are 10 years old. They live in homes that cost way less than what they could afford. They wear normal clothes from normal stores. And they take the massive gap between what they earn and what they spend and they invest it, save it, build actual wealth with it. Living below your means isn't deprivation, it's wisdom. It's trading temporary pleasure for permanent security. It's choosing peace over pressure. It's deciding that what you actually have matters more than what you appear to have. So here's your action step for this mistake. Pull out your bank statements right now and audit your lifestyle. Look at your car payment. Is it eating up more than 10% of your income? Look at your housing costs. Are you stretching to barely afford where you live? Look at your subscriptions. How many are you paying for that you forgot existed? Look at your closet. How much money is hanging there on clothes you barely wear? Then start cutting. Downgrade what needs downgrading. Sell what you don't need. Cancel what you don't use. And redirect all that freed up money toward building real wealth instead of maintaining an image that's bankrupting you. Because whoever loves pleasure becomes poor, but whoever chooses to live below their means builds a financial foundation that nothing can shake. Mistake number 3 is co-signing for someone else's debt. And if you've ever done this, you already know exactly how much damage it causes. Proverbs 11 verse 15 says, "Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer, but whoever refuses to shake hands in pledge is safe." This is one of the most direct warnings in all of Scripture. Not you might suffer, not you could suffer. You will suffer if you co-sign. That's a promise. Here's how this usually plays out. Someone you care about needs a loan, but they can't get approved because their credit is terrible or their income is too low. So they come to you with a story. "I just need your signature. I promise I'll make all the payments. You won't have to pay anything. I just need to get approved." And because you love them, because you want to help, because saying no feels selfish, you sign your name. But do you realize what you just did? You legally agreed to be responsible for paying back a loan that a professional bank with millions of dollars and teams of risk analysts said was too risky to approve. The bank said this person can't be trusted to repay this debt, but you said they can, even though you have way less information than the bank does. And then reality shows up. They miss a payment, then 2 payments. Then they stop paying altogether and now collection agencies are calling your phone. Your credit score is dropping every month. You're legally required to pay for something you don't own and never wanted. And when you bring it up to them, the relationship explodes because money destroys relationships faster than almost anything else. Proverbs saw this coming 3,000 years ago. Whoever co-signs will surely suffer, not as a punishment from God, but as a natural consequence of making a foolish financial decision. But notice the second part of that verse. Whoever refuses to shake hands in pledge is safe. Safe, protected, secure. The Bible doesn't call you selfish for refusing to co-sign, it calls you safe. And safe is exactly where your finances need to be. So when someone asks you to co-sign, and trust me, someone will ask you eventually, here's your biblical answer. I love you, I want to help you, but I cannot co-sign. It goes against my financial principles and what Scripture teaches. But here are other ways I can help you. Then you offer real help. Maybe you can give them some money if you can afford it. Maybe you can sit down and help them create a budget. Maybe you can teach them financial principles. Maybe you can connect them with resources. But what you don't do is co-sign, not ever, not even once, because helping someone get into debt they can't afford isn't actually helping them. It's enabling them to make a bad decision, and enabling always ends in suffering for both people. Your action step is this. If you've already co-signed for someone, contact them today and create a plan to get your name off that loan as quickly as possible. Work with them, work with the lender, do whatever it takes. And if someone asks you to co-sign in the future, practice saying no right now so when the moment comes you're ready. Because whoever refuses to co-sign is safe, and that's exactly where you need your finances to be. All right, mistake number 4 is the one I promised would shock you, and it's this: hoarding your money instead of giving it away. I know that sounds backwards. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't saving money the smart thing to do? And yes, saving is smart. Saving is biblical. We talked about Joseph's 20% rule in another video. But there's a massive difference between saving wisely and hoarding out of fear. Look at what Proverbs 11 verse 24 says. One person gives freely yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly but comes to poverty. Read that again carefully. The person who gives freely, who's generous, who opens their hand to help others, that person gains more. But the person who withholds, who hoards, who grips their money so tight they can't let any of it go, that person comes to poverty. This is the upside-down economy of God's kingdom. Generosity leads to increase. Stinginess leads to decrease. And it makes no sense to our natural mind because we think keeping more means having more. But God's system works differently. Here's what hoarding looks like in real life. You have money saved, but when someone needs help you can't give. Because what if you need that money someday? Your church talks about tithing, but you make excuses because you need that 10% for yourself. You see legitimate needs all around you, but you look away because giving means having less, and having less feels scary. This is hoarding, and it's rooted in fear. Fear that God won't provide. Fear that you'll run out. Fear that giving means losing. And that fear cuts you off from the flow of provision that generosity unlocks. I've watched this principle play out hundreds of times. The most generous people I know are also the most financially blessed. Not because they're manipulating God with their giving, but because generosity aligns you with His heart. And when you're aligned with His heart, He opens doors you didn't knock on. Opportunities appear that you didn't create. Provision shows up in ways that make no logical sense. But the people who hoard, who give the least, who always have a reason why they can't be generous right now, they stay stuck financially. They accumulate, but they never feel secure. They save, but they never have enough. They grip tight, but somehow the money still disappears. Why? Because hoarding is trusting your bank account more than God. And when you trust money instead of God, you're on your own. And on your own is a terrifying place to be. Your action step for this mistake requires faith. I want you to find one way to give this week. Not next month, not when you feel more comfortable. This week, give to someone who needs help. Bless your church. Support a ministry. Help a family. It doesn't have to be a huge amount, it just has to be intentional. And when you give, don't give expecting something back. Give because you're choosing to trust that God is your source, not your bank account. Give because you're breaking the spirit of fear with an act of faith. Then watch what happens. Not immediately, maybe not even quickly, but watch how provision shows up. Because one person gives freely and gains even more. That's not a suggestion. That's a spiritual law that works every single time you activate it. Mistake number 5 is chasing get-rich-quick schemes, and this one has destroyed more wealth and more dreams than almost any other mistake on this list. Proverbs 28 verse 20 says a faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. Pay attention to that word eager. Eagerness for quick wealth is what gets people in trouble. Here's what eager looks like. Someone promises you can quit your job in 6 months if you buy their course. A crypto expert guarantees 10 times returns if you invest right now. Your friend invites you to an incredible business opportunity that's definitely not a pyramid scheme. Even though the structure looks exactly like one, you see a lottery ticket and think maybe this time you'll win. All of these are variations of get rich quick, and they all have the same ending. You lose money. You waste time. You fall for the hype. You ignore the warning signs. And you learn an expensive, painful lesson. Why do we keep falling for this? Because we don't want to do the boring work that real wealth actually requires. We don't want to save 20% of every paycheck for 30 years. We don't want to invest consistently in index funds and wait decades for compound interest to work its magic. We don't want to build a business slowly over 10 years. We want the shortcut. We want the hack. We want the secret formula that gets us there by next year. But Scripture destroys that fantasy with one clear statement. Faithful people get richly blessed. Eager people get punished. And it's not God punishing you as revenge. It's the natural consequence of ignoring wisdom and chasing foolishness. Real wealth is built through faithfulness over time. Saving consistently month after month even when it's boring. Investing in proven strategies year after year even when it feels slow. Living below your means while everyone else is living beyond theirs. Working hard at your job or business. Being patient. Trusting the process. Letting time and discipline do the heavy lifting. That's not exciting. That won't make you rich next month. You can't post about it on social media and get a bunch of likes. But it works. It's proven. It's biblical. And 20 years from now, when you're financially secure, you'll be grateful you chose faithfulness over eagerness. The action step for this mistake is protective. When someone approaches you with an opportunity that sounds too good to be true, run away. If someone guarantees returns, they're lying. If you feel pressure to decide immediately, that's a red flag. If it requires recruiting other people to make money, it's probably a scam. Stick to boring. Stick to proven. Stick to biblical. Because faithful people get richly blessed while eager people learn expensive lessons. Mistake number 6 is making big financial decisions without seeking wise counsel first. Proverbs 15 verse 22 says plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. This is one of the simplest yet most ignored pieces of financial wisdom in Scripture. Here's how this mistake usually happens. You get excited about an opportunity. Maybe it's an investment, maybe it's buying a house, maybe it's starting a business. You think about it for a few days, it feels right, so you jump in. You don't talk to anyone who's successfully done what you're about to do. You don't seek advice from people who are wiser and more experienced than you. You just go for it. And then it fails. The investment loses money. The house becomes a financial burden you can't afford. The business collapses within a year. And you're left confused about what went wrong. What went wrong is you ignored Proverbs. Plans fail for lack of counsel. It's not optional advice. It's a warning backed by thousands of years of human experience. But the verse also gives you the solution. With many advisors, plans succeed. Many advisors. That means before you make any significant financial decision, you talk to multiple people who have successfully done what you're considering. If you're buying a house, talk to homeowners who made wise purchases. If you're investing, talk to people who've built wealth through investing. If you're starting a business, talk to entrepreneurs who've built profitable businesses. Get their perspectives. Ask what mistakes they made. Listen to their warnings. Take notes. Consider their counsel seriously, and then make your decision based on wisdom instead of just emotion or excitement. Your action step is this. Before your next major financial decision, commit to talking with at least 3 wise people who have the results you want. Not 3 random friends. 3 wise people who've succeeded where you're trying to go. And don't just ask for their opinion. Actually listen to it and let it shape your decision. Because plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. The choice is completely yours. Mistake number 7 is the root of every other mistake we've talked about. It's trusting in wealth instead of trusting in God. Jesus said it as clearly as possible in Matthew 6 verse 24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. You cannot serve both. Jesus didn't say it's hard to serve both, or you shouldn't serve both. He said you cannot. It's impossible. Because serving means that thing becomes your source, your security, your hope, your identity, and you can only have one source. Here's how you know if money has become your master. You worry about it constantly even though you're doing fine financially. You're willing to compromise your integrity to make more of it. You give God your leftover time, leftover energy, leftover money instead of your first and best. You obey biblical financial principles only when they're convenient. You say you trust God, but your bank account balance determines your peace. If any of that describes you, money is your master. And having money as your master is terrifying because money is a terrible god. It's unstable, it can disappear overnight through job loss, market crashes, medical emergencies. It doesn't love you back. It doesn't care about you. It can't save you when life falls apart. But when God is your master, when He's your source, everything changes. You can lose everything and still have peace because your security isn't in your account balance. You can give generously because you know He provides. You can obey His financial principles even when they cost you in the short term because you trust His long-term plan. The solution to this mistake is surrender. Not just saying God is in control, but actually giving Him control of your finances. That means tithing even when it's uncomfortable. That means giving generously even when you'd rather hold tight. That means obeying Scripture, even when it costs you money. That means trusting Him to provide instead of trusting your bank account. Your action step is this. Stop right now and pray honestly. Ask God to show you where you've been trusting money more than Him. Ask Him to reveal the fear that's been driving your financial decisions. Confess where you've made money your master instead of making Him your master. Then surrender your entire financial life to His lordship. This isn't a one-time prayer. This is a daily choice. Every time you're tempted to trust your account balance instead of His provision, you choose Him. Every time fear tells you to hoard, you choose generosity. Every time greed whispers to compromise, you choose integrity. Because you cannot serve both God and money, and whoever you serve determines everything about your financial future and your spiritual life. Let's bring all of this together. 7 silent money mistakes that are keeping Christians broke. Spending without planning. Living beyond your means, co-signing for debt, hoarding instead of giving, chasing get-rich-quick, not seeking wise counsel, and trusting wealth over God. If you're making even one of these mistakes, and be honest you probably are, it's costing you way more than money. It's costing you peace. It's blocking blessings. It's keeping you stuck in a cycle of financial stress when God designed you to live in financial freedom. But now you know. You can see the traps. You understand what's been holding you back. And that means starting right now today, you can choose differently. Here's exactly what I want you to do. Pick one mistake from this video. Just one. The one that convicted you the most, the one where you felt that uncomfortable recognition of, oh no, I'm doing that. Take that one mistake and commit to fixing it within the next 7 days. Not thinking about fixing it. Not planning to fix it someday. Actually fixing it this week. Then come back to this video and leave me a comment. Tell me which mistake you picked and what action you're taking to fix it. I personally read every single comment and I reply to every one because I'm genuinely invested in seeing you win financially. If this video gave you value, if it opened your eyes to something you didn't see before, hit that like button right now. And share this video with someone you know who needs to hear this message, because these 7 mistakes are destroying Christian families everywhere, and it's time we started living by biblical wisdom instead. Subscribe to Kingdom Finances because we release videos like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, videos that will transform how you think about money and show you how to build wealth in a way that honors God and actually works in real life. Thanks for watching. Let's stop making these mistakes and start building the financial future God designed for you. I'll see you in the next video.